Our World Media Network. Good afternoon, I'm Wayne Gelman, and welcome once again. You're tuned to the Urban Algorithm for this September 25th, 2021, second part of our program, and we're going to hit the ground running as we normally try to do, because 30 minutes is usually not enough. Our special guest, repeat performance again, broadcasting executive and our political analyst, Reggie Thomas, is standing by. He's in Florida. In what seems to be an extremely warm day down there today, and we're enjoying the first weekend of fall up here, and it's nowhere as hot as it is down there. In fact, you can keep the heat. I look forward to this time of the year, but that's just my opinion. But Reggie, I want to welcome you to the show again, and I know we have so much to talk about. This has really been a very, very explosive week in news, you know?
Yeah, it sure has been.
And
sure has been.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back at some of the stories that I had the chance to take a peek at as we got on the tube early in the morning just to watch the news and read up what was going on, I think all of us were really, really taken back about the United States government's attempt to corral, because, I mean, it really looked like as if they were going after animals as opposed to humans, the Haitian migrants on the southern border of Texas and Mexico. And I can only imagine what it must have been like. It was like a throwback. You always read about how they would go after African Americans back in the day with bulldogs. I'm not even talking about the ones that you see running around today, you know, in different fights. Huge dogs that look like pigs that you used to use to go after slaves. And you always heard about these cowboys that would use a whip. And I mean, this is 2021. You know, you don't expect. I mean, these are still human people, you know? I mean, it's not, even if it had been an animal, you know? But I felt we were reduced to more than just that. And I know when I heard from you, I just said, you know, the vibration was felt around the world. And I think it's a stain on this administration, but we have to point out at the same time, this ain't the first time this has gone down. And their previous administrations, and I heard a representative from a Haitian group, an advocacy group, I think they're based in New York, and they mentioned how there really is, it's only a bit of a slight difference between the Trump administration and how Biden has handled this. And he admittedly said that he was embarrassed and he takes responsibility. And the Vice President, Kamala Harris, was on The View yesterday and echoed pretty much the same response. But it is painful, you know, what these people have gone through. So, I don't know, I've lost you visually, but I'm hoping you could still hear me. I wanted to hear your thoughts. Reggie, are you there? Okay. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden you're not around. So you know what we'll do? We're going to take a break that normally we would take early on. Can you, Reggie, you still there? No, we've lost him. Joey Swift, my executive producer here. I hate to throw the onus on you at this point, but we're going to break for spots and find out exactly what happened to Reggie. We'll be back after this. This is the Our World Media Network, the Urban Algorithm. Stay tuned.
All right, how you guys doing?
Wait, how'd you get your video like that? Is that 4K or something?
Right, you got us over here looking like a hot mess.
No, it's actually a powerful live streaming app for Mac called Ecamm Live. You know what? Let me show it to you real quick. So you're able to use your mirrorless camera as a virtual webcam. And you can tweak the colors right in Ecamm Live using their camera effects, and then bring this video right into Zoom, Google Meet, and pretty much any other virtual meeting app. You can even stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn and bring in comments right onto the video. And you can customize the look, size, and position of the comments right in the app. Or you can even add your logo to the corner of your video, or yourself, or both. There are plenty of picture-in-picture styles to choose from if you're sharing your screen for a tutorial or doing a presentation. And it doesn't have to be live. You can use it to record a course and eliminate the need to have to edit it later, all in 4K quality. And if you got a green screen, you can set it up right in Ecamm Live, and you can bring that into your different meetings. If you're feeling fancy, you can move yourself into the corner of your frame to do a commentary or a reaction video. You can even add in video clips just by dragging and dropping it in. Pretty much everything's drag and drop. Y'all follow me? Okay, good. So if you want to step it up a notch, you can add some overlays to your video, whether it's a simple graphic or you want to have some titles or other info at the bottom of your screen. You can even add animated overlays like this one or this one. And with Ecamm Live's interview mode, you have full control over the look and feel of your broadcast. And you can add branded overlays to frame you and your guests and look like a real legit broadcast. And you can save each layout as a scene and switch between them with the press of a button. You know, these days between virtual meetings, school, live streams, we on video all the time. So you just want to show up in a way where you can be confident and proud of. And for me, Ecamm Live is at the center of it all. Did y'all get all that?
You were on mute.
All right, we're back. This is the Urban Algorithm, and that is not Wilbur Chapman, the retired New York City Chief of Police. Reggie Thomas is our special guest, former broadcast executive and my political analyst. And we're 12 minutes into our program. We had a little glitch there a moment ago. But this is the Our World Media Network, tuned to the Urban Algorithm. We're talking about the political world this past week, and most notably the issue with the Haitian migrants. I mean, it just made me think what our ancestors had to go through just to have a place in this country. I want to get your thoughts, Reggie.
Well, it was kind of interesting to me when I saw that. It was pretty disgusting to see these immigration agents, I guess, calling themselves corralling the Haitian immigrants, and one of them can be heard cussing at the immigrant, saying something like, "This is why your country is S." And
he got that from Trump.
Yeah, it was a Caucasian agent with a beard, and I think what people really got angry about is the fact that it took the president quite a number of days to respond and give his feedback as to what he saw. And then yesterday, he came back and said, you know, that it was awful. It's not the way to treat people, and that the people involved would pay. You know, that's going to remain to be seen. But it did remind me of Roots. You remember the slaves ran away, and the slave chasers would be on horseback, and
Right.
you know, here this guy was using his reins as a whip, and I was sick to my stomach watching that.
Oh, I think all of us, the whole world.
Oh, it was awful. And then so because the immigrants were living in squalid conditions, I think that added to the imagery. So they sent, you know, the folks in there to clear them all out and clean the place almost to a pristine conditions. And they said they sent 2,000 back, and you really don't know what happened with all of these folks, because there was as many as 30,000 people out there.
Yeah, yeah. And they were able to, I mean, in all honesty, I think they did like a two-part thing where they broke up 15,000 and they were able to send them either back or place them somewhere, and then 15,000, you know, went somewhere else. And the last set, as you mentioned, 2,000 were sent back to Haiti. But, this is not the answer. This is not the first time. And of course, this affected black people, but you see what they've done with the Mexicans and the other inhabitants of Central America as they were trying to cross the border. It's all collective. I mean, we have a major immigration problem in this country. And
That's
I don't
right.
know.
And the thing is that it seems as though people of color always get the short end of the stick. The borders of the United States are not really open to them. This is one of the things that you got to think about. This is the whole reason why we got problems with these members of the GOP who are trying to impose voter suppression tactics. The last thing they want to see is more people of color cross the
Coming.
border.
Exactly. Right.
And that's what you got to look at.
And the thing is I still maintain, I was just discussing that with our previous guest, that there's only a select few within that Republican Party who are duly elected to Congress, and they're the ones that are basically holding things up. But at some point, the scales are tipping. The black population in this country is only 13%. But the deal is that collectively, the more brown people in this country, is if you include the Latin Americans, the Native Americans, the Asians, and all that, than there are whites. And you have, I guess, a media that's out there. I'm not saying that represents all of media, but there's a segment of the media that's out there that's promoting a certain agenda just to keep things or turn things back to how they once were. And they have the support of what seems to be a minority out there, but very easily it could swell up like what we saw on January 6th at the Capitol. You'll have, people coming out of the woodwork who are just not acclimated to the change that this country sooner or later is going to go through. But again, it's how this country has traditionally handled immigration from that perspective, people who are fleeing abuse that's going on in their homeland, and some of them have left Haiti years ago. They were working, and I don't want to say hiding out, but they were trying to find labor in other parts of the world in order to get by. And even those opportunities have dried up because many of the people who are crossing the border, Haitians were living in those countries where their respective nationals are trying to come to the U.S. too. So they got to figure this thing out. And I sort of questioned the Homeland Security Secretary yesterday about, saying that there were conditions in Haiti where they could collectively go back and feel a certain degree of civility. And I just, that doesn't seem to add up. It
was two things that he said, Wayne, that I didn't agree with. He said that that the conditions in Haiti allowed for their return, and the other thing that he said that that the reason for the U.S. not being able to accept these people was relative to the pandemic.
That's an excuse.
And listen, as many vaccine doses we have here, they could have vaccinated every one of those people,
right,
as a condition of their entry. And they're doing it with the Afghanistan immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done it with them. This is the bottom line. If you have a problem, if Europeans have a problem coming into this country, it's never a problem. You remember when Trump stated that, how come we can't get immigrants from Norway? And he was mentioning all of these European countries with the blonde hair and the blue-eyed folks.
Right.
And then that's when he called Africa and Haiti S countries.
Yeah.
And that's the basic premise that we're dealing with here. And we got to understand something. We're not an island. We live in a global economy, and sometimes and especially being that we are the haves,
Mm-hmm.
we can always help the have-nots. I don't care what race or what part of the world they come from. We are a country that's able to help other people, and the Haitians have a legitimate reason why they need to find relief.
And their history has been so sobering when you stop and think about it. It's the first black country on the planet that sought independence from France and existed. And there's the whole historical phenomenon about how they helped, in the Civil War and in this country, and also what went on between them and the ruling empire in Spain, the back and forth between what is now the Dominican Republic, because that still remains split. The issues from a cultural perspective on that side too, and it's just unfortunate that they've gone through so much. You kind of wonder, well, why is it that they've been so persecuted? I mean, it's one thing to suffer earthquakes and have to put up with illegal regimes and things like that, but at some point, things have got to be stabilized, and you just, to me, I'm just baffled. I go back to the days 30, 40 years ago where the New York Times would used to refer to Haiti as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And it seems like not much has changed. There's been an effort to make change. We've had different administrations going back to the Clinton years and all that, but nothing seems to have gotten better. And it's not just there alone. I mean, it's that whole region. It's the Latin American region, and again, people are desperately leaving what they're basically considered home to find a better life. And I mean, I thought of myself. I thought of my own ancestry when I saw these people being whipped. It's very shocking and it's uncalled for, and I don't have an answer. I know there's plenty of space in this country. There's a lot of open space here, so that's not the issue. And if they wanted to put something together, a place just to house these people until they could be processed properly, or join the system in the traditional sense, there should be facilities built for that. This is 2021, man. We're not talking about the 18th century. We shouldn't have to go through all the nonsense now, in my opinion. But there's another agenda here, and I fear what it's going to mean in 2022 politically, and particularly 2024.
Well, it was really interesting. Some of those people that were being beat and chased down with the horses were just bringing back food to the encampment.
Right.
The places where they were purchasing food was on the other side of the Rio Grande. If I believe that was the Rio Grande that they were crossing.
Right.
And if you look, if you could go back and look at some of the footage, the gentleman had all of the styrofoam boxes in a plastic bag where he was bringing back food from the encampment, and you had these officers trying to run them down, and they were doing this. And some of these guys had babies with them.
Speaking of that,
children.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think as many as 30 women who were housed in that encampment were pregnant, or they gave birth.
Gave birth.
Yeah, I mean, that's sobering.
I think 10 people gave birth during the time they were there.
Yeah.
Which makes the babies. They were in Del Rio, Texas, which makes the babies U.S. citizens.
Right. So again, do we practice what we preach? Because under those circumstances, the parents are allowed to have a certain amount of amenities that any average citizen would go through because of the birth factor. But no, we got to send them all back. We got to figure out another way. We got to we the Haitians who were targeted 30 years ago with the AIDS epidemic. All of a sudden, they're breeding this pandemic that we're going through with the virus. It's that kind of mixed up logic that baffles me, and I can't say that I have the answers, but I'm hoping that if we talk about this long and strong enough, that there'll be something to come forth, because to me it's just basic common sense. They should not have been treated that way. I haven't been to that part of Texas in a long time, but I'm certain there must be motels, hotels, some place to house these people. And
it was very interesting that that they had members of Congress who were staunchly opposed to the immigrants being returned to Haiti, and I guess Mayorkas was getting his marching orders from the White House to ignore that and return the people back to the country. I mean, they processed some and allowed them to come in the United States and I guess join family members. But a quick note. Did you see the View yesterday when Sonny Costin and the Hispanic lady,
right. I
can't
can't.
name.
Yeah, Navarro. I think her last name.
Yeah, Navarro. Ana
Yeah.
Navarro.
Right.
They were apparently. I don't know
Tested.
if it was a false positive. They said that they retested them after the show and they tested negative, but they removed them from the show because they thought they tested positive for COVID.
Right. I saw a repeat of that this morning on MSNBC, and I was surprised how that was handled. I figured if anything, they would wait for a test result before they put them on the air, but I guess that was one of those moments, you fly by the seat of your pants in broadcasting. Every once in a while we have a glitch, and that was one of them. But I think they did the appropriate thing by isolating the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and putting her in another studio, just not to take chances. But it just goes to show, I'm looking forward to get my booster shot. I don't know how you feel about that, or if you're in line to get that at this point. I know they want.
No, because I'm not 65.
No.
Yeah, but I've got a couple of years before that happens. But the thing is that I was fortunate that I was able to get the Pfizer shots. The second one made me kind of sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was down for a couple of days. Really didn't feel good, but I was grateful that I was able to get it, and because I've known people that passed away from this virus, and I just am absolutely stunned at the number of people who are willing to take the chance. They think that their bodies are going to
invincible,
rise above science. And the thing that's probably so astounding to me are the people that catch it and are in the hospital, standing at death's door, begging the doctors to do something for them when they were warned. You were warned that this could happen.
Yeah, right.
It just doesn't make sense.
I don't understand that mentality either. I mean, I'm always taken back by sheer ignorance I see whenever these people give testimony. And very often the very people on camera saying, well, I wish I had done that. You just hear 2-3 days later they pass. And I'm just saying that should be sobering enough for you to, to do something about it. I was even surprised that Mrs. Jesse Jackson had not been vaccinated.
Right.
The two of them are up in age. I know that Reverend Jackson had been suffering from comorbidities, but you don't want to be in a situation where you're bringing a problem home or you think that you're immune to something because you're not going out. We don't know. This is an enemy we can't see, touch, smell, hear. We just know it's there.
But Wayne, the dumb part about all of this is that you get these people who don't want to take the vaccination. And in order for you to go to school, you had to have a vaccine card with a litany of vaccines that you absolutely had to have taken in order for you to go to school.
Right, right.
You had diphtheria, smallpox, polio. It's like, that's crazy.
Right, right. It bothers me, and as you mentioned that, I'm reminded of the time when I got out of broadcasting. I had an opportunity to teach at a charter school, and I was one back in the day that I hated having to take a flu shot, but I get it now. It was mandatory. This is in the New York City system, and it was just one of those things. If you want to sit next or teach a class or be before anybody, that you would make sure. And I still know people who have passed from the flu. We're talking about COVID-19, but I go back to 2 years ago, God rest her soul, Kay Thompson's daughter, Gina Payne, died like months before her mother passed, and she was in Bermuda, if I'm not mistaken, and died from the flu. So all these things still exist in the world, and you think that modern medicine has gotten better, but it's just one of those deals that you just have to be mindful and careful about the things that you're doing, and hopefully have the presence of mind to do the right thing.
You see that Ron DeSantis found a lackey in a new Surgeon General. Who I understand people are saying he's a very smart guy, but you saw him in the same company as that Dr. Williams, who was talking about voodoo medicine.
Yeah. Scary.
It's crazy to me. I don't understand it.
I don't know. But I don't know. We unfortunately are running out of time. I can't believe that we've gone through almost 30 minutes here. But there's so much to talk about. I wanted to get into the Gabby Petito case briefly. I wanted to hear your thoughts because I felt badly for the family, but I also know that there are many other people out there, people who look like us, who never get the attention.
Well, that's very, very true. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that, all this attention is always given to white victims as who disappear and versus people of color. But what's interesting is that there are enough people out there who've seen them in some type of strife. And I think there was even one witness who saw this young man, Laundrie, on the side of the road slapping her.
Right.
And it seems like whenever the police caught up with them, she was always taking responsibility, telling the police that it was all her fault. So I think her funeral is tomorrow in New York.
It's here in New York. It's out in Long Island on the East End. And, it's just saddening to think that regardless of what goes on, that we're still faced with issues like this. And whenever I hear stories like this and do the research, did you know that there are like 1.5 million black men who are missing out here? And you never hear stories about them, the ones that are just, they've become a ghost. I hate to use the reference.
That's a surprising number to me. I didn't even know that was such the case.
I was surprised myself when I read it, but this is the thing that we're faced with. Reggie Thomas, unfortunately, we're out of time, but we will certainly have to have you back. Always get a kick at looking at your backdrop there. I know you're living in the land of opulence there in Florida. You complain, but, your ceiling fan, the cathedral ceilings, the recessed lighting. Brother, I want to live like you one day when I get there.
Hey, you're right. That's a long way for the Audubon apartments at 155th Street and Amsterdam Avenue.
Hey, Washington Heights. Those are the heights. Yeah.
1909 Amsterdam.
Yeah, I hear that. All the best. You enjoy your weekend. We'll have you back.
All right. You too.
Okay. And I want to thank my executive producer, Joey Swift, for everything. This has been the Urban Algorithm
Joey.
for this September 25th, 2021. And this is the Our World Media Network. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Hey man, you know
Yeah.
what? You know who would be a great guest?
Who?
You know, I told you. You know, my daughter just moved over to Microsoft,
Yeah.
and
I think
so
you did tell me about that.
yeah, and she's in charge uh, of airband. They call it airband, but it's actually broadband
Uh-huh.
uh, in communities of color and urban communities and underserved communities around the country. She leads that team now.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, so she's got to go to Microsoft headquarters on Monday.
Uh-huh.
But as she gets settled, she'd be a great guest to talk about what Microsoft's goals are in terms of broadening the broadband landscape around the country, especially as it relates to those communities
That
that
don't have it. Exactly.
don't have it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well, would
we
that...
found out.
Now, I was going to say, I hope she wouldn't get in trouble for doing something like that. I don't
No,
see
no,
why
no.
not.
She was on. She was on. She was on the Crisis Show.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
but that's
she was
before.
on.
But no, I'm talking about. But now she's working with Microsoft. You're
She's still.
saying?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. It's no secrets. They've got all kinds of initiatives that, and her job is creating strategic partnerships between the federal government and other big organizations like Verizon and T-Mobile, and as a matter of fact, she did a proposal the other day in her first week for the governor of Wisconsin,
Oh, okay.
because they saw during the pandemic how many kids
Didn't have exactly. Yeah.
didn't have broadband, and so
Right.
they couldn't go to school.
School, nothing. Yeah.
They couldn't get their work done. They didn't have computers.
Yeah. It's
So,
sad.
so yeah, she left Citigroup, where she was a senior VP,
Uh huh.
to go over to Microsoft, and she's a senior director there, and leads this big team of people to help Microsoft broaden broadband access to as many communities around the country
So
as
this
they
is,
can.
and she's based in New York.
No, she's still living in New York while they're not in the office, but she'll be based in D.C.
Oh, in D.C. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
So
Well,
she'll be
that's
going
good to
back and
know.
forth between Hollis and Washington.
Yeah. Oh, she's the one who lives in that. Okay, got you. All right.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
one of
you
the
told me
Hollis,
about Hollis. Yeah. So I don't know. I got to talk to you. I mean, I'm going through. I'm still trying to deal with Allstate and FEMA getting my house. Getting some claim in. Just that. I have to be compensated. I've taken pictures. I've cleaned the place out. I can't continue to live in filth.
You talking about from that storm?
Yeah, from the storm. We're talking 3 weeks, and there's other people
Yeah, I
out
didn't
there like
realize that
that.
you had that much damage.
Oh yeah, I had at least over a foot, maybe almost a foot and a half of water in the basement,
Oh,
and
no kidding.
yeah, and the deal is I just put in the second pump. I'm beginning to think
Right.
now that I need to put in a third pump, because this could happen again, and it's just one thing, and I'm trying to get this thing organized with the show, and I'm still dealing with the idiot tenant that, these people from
Well, he's
the
running out of time because he
oh
doesn't
yeah,
have the protection of that.
no, it's coming, and the thing that really got to me, not to cut you off, is that they called me on my cell phone and said that I have 7 days in which to go after the money. And I said, wait a minute. I sent you all my information almost 3 months ago now. And you mean to tell me I have 7 days? Only because now my lawyer got involved and got the tenant's what do you call that, security code number to marinate with mine. It's just it's bullshit. and I'm still hearing on some of the national programs that there's still a good number. I mean, there's been some progress, but there's still a good number of landlords who have not been paid. You know,
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah,
a lot of them around the country.
yeah.
You
I
know, they're
want to
talking about the billions of dollars that have not been paid out, and the
right.
states are just sitting on them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I don't understand that.
I wanna get you, and I want to get a license, another licensed realtor to come in and talk. Somebody locally, maybe here. I had been in contact with a woman. Unless you know somebody that maybe in another state, you know, because I want to make sure there's a national presence with this. You know,
Well, what
anybody
you
come
might
to
want to
mind?
have is actually a real estate attorney come on
Oh,
who
yeah, yeah, right.
yeah, you know.
You know anybody in Maryland or?
I got to check to see if a buddy of mine in New York uh, uh, either is equipped to handle that and talk about that, or if they know somebody that does. So I'll
Yeah,
check.
yeah, yeah. Let me know
I'll
because
check.
we could do a whole hour on that. You know, I'd
Yeah,
like to.
I could check on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Bronx there anyway.
Oh, really? What's his name?
Alan Roll, Rolle.
Oh,
He
okay.
and
I
I
can't say.
grew up together, and he graduated from.
St. John's or.
I think he went to Bronx High School of Science.
Oh, okay. Uh huh.
Yeah, I think he went to science.
Yeah.
He would have been in the same class as uh, what's the guy's name? The astronomer,
From
the
I know.
astrophysicist.
Yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. He's at the Hayden Planetarium.
Hayden Planetarium.
Yeah,
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 he
yeah,
graduated with
yeah.
those guys.
Oh, really? Okay. So I
Yeah.
guess he's in his 50s or
No,
40.
no, no. He's 63.
Oh, is he? All right.
Yeah,
What's his name? He's that old?
yeah,
Cause he.
yeah. He graduated class of 75, but he was born in 58.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Because I just heard him talk the other day on Paul Beer that one of his relatives sang with the fifth dimension. I didn't, you know, I don't know.
Oh,
He
no
didn't
kidding.
pinpoint. Yeah, that's what he said. You know, that was his first time in the Ed Sullivan
Why
Theater.
can't I remember his name? His name is
Yeah, Neil somebody. Neil.
DeGrasse
Yeah,
Tyson.
yeah, DeGrasse. Yeah, you
DeGrasse.
know. He's from the Bronx. Yeah, he went to. Yeah, he went to Bronx Science, I guess. You
Yeah, he went
know.
to science and he graduated in 75 with some friends of mine that I grew up with.
Right, right.
And I said, you know what? I probably, growing up, if I had gone there, I probably wouldn't have been interested in all of that. But I look at him now and I'm absolutely
Oh yeah,
fascinated.
yeah, fascinating because he has a lot of stuff that you think about, but then again, when you see him put everything together, him and there's an Asian guy, Columbia University. He's always on. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
It's the guy
A
with
lot of white hair.
silver hair.
Yeah, yeah, him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, I know who you're talking
off the
about.
charts, you know. But listen, I got to step off because they're going to come
Yeah,
in
go
with
ahead.
another
Hey,
show.
Joe, take it easy,
Yeah,
man.
we'll catch up. All right.
All right.
Okay, Reggie. Take care.
Talk to you later, man.
Right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Joey, thank you. Yeah. So.